Hey there, it's gonna be a long video about installing Windows 11 because Windows 10 is getting now really unsupported and getting less and less security updates, and also newer hardware is really getting that strong that it can run Windows 11 effectively with less hiccups. Look at, for instance, the Geekom Mini that is running an Alder Lake N100, what is also a 13th generation CPU, 12 generation CPU. It costs like 300 bucks. You can have 40 euro reduction. It has 4800 megahertz, 16 gigs of DDR5 and the SSD. So most people don't understand why their actual Windows 11 might be running slowly on their PC, and it's not because of the CPU. 2 or 4 core CPUs with 4, 6 or 8 threads will be able to run your Windows 11 very very fast. There is no issues. So first is memory writing speed, quantity of memory, and your file writing and file handling and file transferring speed. This is what will make your PC faster. So you can see here we talk about a NVMe drive that you can also update, and also a DDR5. I bought this PC for my mother. This PC, as you can check on YouTube in videos, is running extremely fast, very small. And if you think about professional use, only for handling databases, Word, Excel, maybe some normal style proprietary software for companies that use administrative tasks, that do administrative tasks, it's really really sufficient, and it's a very very fast PC. I think if they bought, let's say, 25 PCs like this with monitor, keyboard and mouse, it would cost like 250 euros total for everything. You can have like 24-inch work eye care monitors for well under 100 euro now. So the hardware is becoming really really cheap, and you can run Windows 11 securely on your PCs. So let's get into the installation. If you had a Windows 11 code, you just type in download Windows 11, and you can download it for free very easily. And you can create either an installation media for your Win 11, or you can write it straight away on a CD or DVD or Blu-ray, whatever. I don't think it's gonna be maybe enough, maybe a double DVD or a Blu-ray disc, because it's 5.5 gigs. So you can select your download for 64-bit devices, download now, and you can download it for free on English. And this is how you start. You see, it takes a little bit of time. Links is valid for 24 hours. 64-bit download. Then it's downloading the 5 gigs of ISO. Then of course you have to write it out on a USB drive, so you can use the Windows 11 installation media creator, and this will be downloaded over here. But if you are running Windows, I really prefer Balena Etcher. So this is an open source software that you can use to create any kind of boot ISOs, and you can install it very easily on Windows. And you just come here, scroll down on Balena Etcher or etcher.balena.io, and download it for your Windows, install it and write it out for your USB. If you are running, like me, Debian, you just type in, as you can see, install, and well, you can find some information on how to install it. You have to add a repository, for instance, just like this. As you can see, adding a keyring first and the repo source list, then install from this source Balena Etcher, and then just run it. You can do all kind of, you know, hashing and version confirmation if you want, but it's very easy even on Debian. And you know, if you don't have the actual Windows 11 key, you just want to try it out to see how it's going, you type in download Win 11 evaluation, and you can download the Enterprise Edition evaluation version. That's long-term support, and over here you can go and download it. You just have to write in everything. Don't worry, you're not gonna get contacted, there is no emailing, there is nothing, just write in everything, fill it in, and you can download it very fast, very easily. And this is what I did. Then, you know, as I said, you write this out normally to a USB drive. You wouldn't do this with an evaluation edition, but with the simple Windows edition you would write this out for a USB drive, plug it in and boot it from it. On the other hand, I'm gonna use VirtualBox that you can find over here, and you can use this virtualization software to try and run Windows 11. As I said, it's gonna be a long video. You just, you know, do download, and either you download a Linux host or a Windows host depending on what you are running. So I would be running a Linux host, Linux distributions. I'm running the latest Debian 12, and I would be downloading VirtualBox from here. Then simply, you know, you just run an apt install on your terminal, and you know, install the VirtualBox on your Debian. Then you will be installing also the actual extension pack for VirtualBox for, you know, better and more integrated use. So all of this for me is already downloaded and installed. So let's get into the actual installation of the Windows 11. So I'm gonna just add a new machine over here, as you can see in VirtualBox. I'm gonna name it Win 11 machine and 01. I'm gonna install it to another drive. As you can see, it's very important to know where you installed your VMs. So it's not this drive, the other one, VirtualBox machines. Here you go. And I'm gonna choose the ISO image that I just downloaded, and I saved it as Win 11 evaluation ISO. That's it. Then I'm gonna check Windows subtype, it's Windows 11. Skip unattended installation. I don't wanna do an unattended installation. That means that you have to actually give your credentials, your username, your code, your everything in advance, but I don't want to do this. As you can see, I don't want unattended installation. I'm gonna skip it. Then in case of hardware, I'm gonna add at least 16 gigs of RAM, 6 CPUs to make it faster, and around 200 gigs of hard disk. This is actually a dynamically allocated hard disk drive, so it's gonna be using up only the space that it needs. So if it needs 25 gigs, it's gonna go up to 25 gigs, 50 gigs, 60 gigs, 80 gigs, as it needs, but it's not gonna take off 187 gigs from your hard drive. Let's say 180 to make it round. If you want, you know, to do some special tasks, you might have to pre-allocate the full size into your VDI, virtual disk image, but in this case it's very, you know, normal to have just a dynamically allocated disk. Finish. Then what you have to do, it's very important, the same like you are installing on, you know, a real PC, you have to unplug the network device. You have to unplug your network cable, because if not, you're gonna have to, you know, type in or create a Microsoft account, and it will be asking credentials, and you might run into some issues creating a local account and making that local account constantly work for you. So I recommend to unplug the actual, here you go, booting in the Windows to make it installing on a VirtualBox device. The evaluation edition, language to install, time currency, I'm in France, so French. It's gonna be long, but we are doing it. Keyboard, so I have an AZERTY French keyboard. Install Windows 11 or repair my PC. I agree with everything. As I'm installing, I keep on install. Next. Okay, I've read everything, accept everything. I've never did this. I, still installed a couple of Windows 10s in PCs, but I've never actually did this. So I highly recommend to have at least, let's say, 256 gigs free space for your OS. It's better 512. So normally at this time it's not expensive to have 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes big NVMe drives, and allocate at least 512 to the Windows, because with the updates, with the installed software, with everything, it's better for Windows to run everything that you are using from the same partition. It's not as efficient that using Linux, with a secure install, when you are installing etc, boot, root, home, var, everything on a same, on a different partition. In case of Windows, it's still not like best, but it's getting better. But it's good to have at least 512 GB for your Windows partition. 256 will do. It's possible to install it on a 6480 GB partition, but you're gonna run out of space very fast. So I'm not gonna do anything here. I'm gonna create another partition. It's okay for me as a virtual machine to test out 180 gigs. Next. What does... Here you go. Okay, install. Check for device specifications. Let's see, unable to open link. No issues because I turned off the actual internet. So no internet connection available on this device. It's very important. So my PC, here you go. So the installation is going quite fast. I think it's gonna take maybe a couple of minutes, probably, because I did not install this Windows on my actual NVMe. I have an SSD storage running in the background, and just for this trial I used SSD storage. So probably now it's copying, unpacking, creating new kind of safe partitions as well for the Windows 11, because it has I think 2 extra partitions for recovery and for boot help for the install. So in the meantime we can talk about Windows 11. I recently just finalized an installation for a client on Windows 11, and unfortunately he kept the network cable plugged in, so you have to create a free Microsoft account. You can do it with a Gmail address, no issues here, and all sorts of stuff are popping up about Office 365, getting your credit card details, sending you emails, sending all sorts of unnecessary information, debugging information, crash information, user information, advertisements, all sorts of stuff. This is why I use Debian. On my other PC I have Fedora. My wife is using Linux Mint, and I tried all sorts of Linux stuff. For me at this moment, Debian is the most stable. I crashed multiple times. Ubuntu, I had times with I have issues with running the hot corners and the how does he and running the actual GNOME with the hot corners. I crashed it multiple times. Then I installed Ubuntu with XFCE, and it was a little bit better, but I again crashed because of GNOME, and I could not make it stand up. I tried to uninstall GNOME, I tried to uninstall XFCE, put back a Cinnamon on it. Anyways, I'm not sure what was going on. It was the 2404 long-term support version. I think the new one, I think, is 2410 maybe. It's a bit more stable, but Debian, I never could crash this Debian. It's very, very stable, extremely stable, and I constantly use virtualization. As you can see on my icons over here down, I use VMware installed, and also Oracle VirtualBox. I use time to time to check out nested virtualization. So it's a virtual machine in a virtual machine. So I use, for instance, Windows Server, and I use Hyper-V in it, and also virtualize, let's say, another Windows with a non-GUI version, only a Windows Server CLI command line interface. So you can do a lot of stuff with Debian, but unfortunately most enterprises do not understand that basically if they do only some database management, administration, and no real proprietary software is in use, that they could actually migrate into an open source solution that is more stable, no payments, no licenses, nothing is necessary. You can install Debian or other OSs on any PC. It runs flawlessly, it's smooth. You can really customize the updates that you are getting, all sorts of security updates. You can harden these systems way better. You can make them communicate with all sorts of servers based on any sort of OS. You can use Rocky Linux. Back in the day we used CentOS. You can use you can make it function with Linux based personalized firewalls like OPNsense, or if you want you can download, I think, the actual software as an OS from pfSense. You can create all sorts of servers using other sort of Linux distributions than Debian, and they will communicate between one and each other flawlessly. You can have LDAP instead of open LDAP, instead of using ADDS, and you can very, very fast set that up with the command line interface. It's I'm really happy that I found Linux a couple of years ago and really using it all the time. Anyways, this was just a little bit of small talk while the actual Windows 11 is getting installed. And Windows, as it's expanding its wings with Windows Server, ADDS, Microsoft 365, it's getting really, unfortunately, more and more popular and less safe for the world. So we choose the region, it's France. We keep on going, right keyboard layout, no. So can I choose France as a keyboard layout? FFF, United States, Y. French, legacy, French standard, AZERTY, yes. Want no second keyboard. So let's connect you to a network. I don't have internet because it's very important to not to give out everything and to create a local user. So I'm gonna make John Rambo. Next, password. Okay, I'm gonna come back because probably it's gonna be your username. So grambo. Enter a password. For the demonstration purposes, I just use admin0 with a big A. Security question. Okay, pet's name John. Next, what's the name of the city where you were born? John. These can be important in case of recovery of password or security stuff, but you know, don't care. No location services and no experiences. You have to click no to everything, not keeping track. Don't include, required only. This is very important because, you know, Windows is going to be sending all sorts of stuff, all sorts of diagnostic data everywhere. Accept. Okay. No tips. Nothing. Number of ads. And here you go. We are going forward without the actual demand and questions and everything that is getting asked when you are connected to the internet. So, you know, as you can see, it's quite fast. It's not like back in the day that you had to leave your PC for 4 hours and you know, even after that maybe Windows was crashing. Windows install, you know, back in the day when you had to install XP, you never knew that the installation will be finished or it's gonna be stable. So actually Windows is evolving very fast. I started using Windows back in 3.1, you know, at the early 90s when I was like 8-10 years old, and it was quite useless. The only thing you could do with Windows, it's basically running a couple of stuff, and we were still reverting every time to DOS. All the games were in MS-DOS, and we were playing with, you know, those cheap games of Prince of Persia, Electro Body, and Hot Rod, Street Rod, and MotoGP, and these sort of games on DOS. And you know, first we started using Windows with Win95, then Win98, and then XP. Here you go. So that was the installation of Windows 11, either on VirtualBox or on actual you know, on an actual PC. So if you want to make it nice, that's the final thing in this video. On VirtualBox, you just come here, input or devices, insert guest editions CD image. So normally you install the extension pack as we talked about at the very beginning on your VirtualBox. So now the extension pack CD is installed. Right click on Windows icon, File Explorer, and normally here you can see that in the CD drive we have the extension pack CD, and you know, we just install it. Then we still are not connected to the internet, so no updates are starting and slowing down the PC. Yes, everything is possible. Next, guest editions install, and this will help us to make the Windows window run in full screen and make it more usable. So we just reboot it, and the first reboot is going to be really slow. So again, I'm gonna entertain you with some small talk. So in Windows 2000, Windows came out with Windows 2000. I think it was like a kind of NT based Windows. This is where NT arrived as well, the network, the first Microsoft server, Windows server. And now normally when we log in, Windows will become a big window. So normally, why is it not working? Guest editions, upgrade guest editions. Let's see that it's upgrading or not. So maybe right now the latest VirtualBox extension pack is not supporting fully the guest editions on maybe. Yes, it's working. So full screen Windows 11 running on Linux, and you know, this is it. It's very easy, very fast to install, as you can see, this was the evaluation edition, so I did not have to insert any sort of code and ID and anything. This is an evaluation edition that I can use for 99 days, and of course if I'm testing stuff or using things that might take long time, I can prolongate with special commands in the command line this windows. Here you go. Thanks for watching this longish video on Windows 11, and I'm gonna come back to show you how to make it run faster and how to uninstall all the unnecessary stuff, like if you can see, type in Xbox, you have this gaming Xbox stuff, you have other things that are actually consuming memory, space, and your speed. Thank you. Cheers.